The Athletic's Dan Connolly has written a very thorough baseball article on the new Orioles outfielder Cedric Mullins, and I asked Dan Connolly why.
You know, I actually talked to Cedric a couple days before I did the piece, and he's just an impressive guy. He really is. He's soft-spoken, but there's a confidence there. And when he started telling me his story, and he started talking about how, you know, he didn't play high school baseball. His sophomore year, he got cut from his varsity team, had to play JV. His junior year, he made varsity, but, you know, he didn't start. So he didn't actually start high school baseball on varsity until his senior year in high school. And, you know, 6 years later, he's playing center field for the Baltimore Orioles. Just an incredible story. And he didn't get drafted, you know, out of high school. He didn't have a college scholarship out of high school. He had to go to Lewisburg College, which is a junior college in North Carolina. And, you know, he just kept playing and just kept progressing. And finally, Campbell University saw him, and they decided to give him a scholarship. They gave him a full ride, which is somewhat unusual for baseball, but he had a 4.0 GPA in junior college, so it was part academic, part baseball scholarship, so he didn't have to pay anything at Campbell, and he just kept pushing. And finally, as we talked about before, you know, Rich Campbell, Rich Morales, one of the Orioles scouts, saw him and was like, you know, I'm interested in this guy. But the story about how he saw him is really interesting.
Well, and how did he had to make a fast trip to scout Cedric Mullins? I mean, Rich Morales did. I mean, it was kind of one of those off the spur things, right?
It's a crazy story. So Rich Morales is living in Blacksburg, Virginia, and he gets up at 6:30 in the morning one morning. Has no idea why he gets up so early. And he goes over to the computer and fires it up and looks to see what schedules are going on for baseball. And he sees that there's a junior college tournament in Kinston, North Carolina, which is 4 hours and 40 minutes from where Morales is. It's 6:30 in the morning. It starts at 11 a.m. He does the math and he says, you know what? I can shower. I can be out of here by 7. I might be able to make it for the first pitch. So he drives really fast. Wouldn't tell me exactly how fast, but very fast. It gets there in a little over 4 hours. Gets there in the second inning. Walks down the third base line instead of sitting behind, you know, the plate where scouts usually watch pitchers. He went down to third base line. First guy he sees is this little left-hander who bites on a curveball and then somehow muscles it to the base of the wall for a double. And Morales was like, what did I just see? And so the great part about it, he watched it for 2 more innings and thought, this kid is better than anybody else on the field. So he calls Matt Haas, who is the Orioles national cross-checker at the time, and Haas says, you know, what do you got? And he explains the whole thing to him, and then Morales says to Haas, what are you doing tomorrow? And Haas says, looks like I'm getting on a plane and flying to Kinston. And that's how it started. They watched him there. They actually brought him in for a pre-draft workout, liked what they saw, but the monies didn't match. And, you know, because he was going to Division I school, Mullins decided to, you know, not worry about pro ball and basically bet on himself. And that's what he did. He betted on himself, and it worked out perfectly. His junior year, he was second team all Big South at Campbell. And suddenly, a bunch of teams were interested, but the Orioles were the one in the 13th round that selected him.
How come he lasted to the 13th round?
Well, he's 5'8", 175 pounds. He was 5'6", 158 pounds in high school. So everyone liked what they saw, but they weren't sure because you have to project so much because he's such a little guy.
And the fact that, you know, when you're trailing through the minor leagues and all, it seems like every step along the way he got a little bit better. Yeah,
he kept improving. He's got tremendous work ethic. His parents were really great people. I had a chance to talk to them for the article, and they just kept pushing him. And he said it was a situation where he had no plan B. Plan A was to play Major League Baseball or to play professional baseball anyway, and he was going to do everything he possibly could do that. So he outworks everybody, and that's kind of the key. He just outworks and outworks. I mean, he was only batting .269 at AAA when the Orioles called him up, and he's batting over .300 right now. He just keeps working, and I think that's what everybody's impressed about. Defensively, offensively, on the bases, everything is kind of done with extra purpose.
All right, thanks to Dan Connolly.